Less than 1% of our entire population speaks Latin. When people say that Latin is dead, well, they aren't wrong. You'll probably never meet someone in public that can fluently speak to you in Latin. And yet, for whatever reason, I don't know, Latin is offered to high school and college students across the country. Why? Why bother teaching a language that no one would ever use? Why would students even think about taking a dead language when they can take Spanish or Italian? They're actually useful. I wanted answers, and I knew just where to go. This was going to be a long trip, and the flight would be expensive, but it was worth the trouble. I didn't know what to expect. This was practically a deserted island with very few residents. Not feeling too confident about my decisions, I packed my bags, wrote a vague letter to my friends and family in case I never returned, and to Casey, to Prima Isle. We finally made it to Prima Isle, I think. The weather seems awfully nice, almost a bit too perfect. Anyways, I called the advisors of this island prior to flying over, and they were nice enough to give me a full room for interviews, as well as a few residents to help me find some answers. They even provided their own camera, which is almost too convenient. Eerily convenient. I think if I just follow this road, it should lead me to where I need to— oh, look at that. We found it. Perfect. Let's get in. Wow, they have everything set up. It's almost as if they knew exactly what I wanted. Well, no use pondering over too long. Just time to wait for my first resident to show up, I guess. Hello, let me introduce myself. My name is Timothy Sim, and I'm here to find some answers, to satisfy some inner desire. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Mehrael, but I prefer to go by Ray.
Nicholas.
Taylor.
Hello, my name's Michael Reyes.
Yeah, I'd like to go with my nickname, Mary.
I had asked each person these 4 main questions that you see on the screen. I received a vast range of answers, all of which were very insightful, other than the one person doing yoga, of course. As to not make the video too long, I decided to summarize all that was said. Their individual interviews will be in a separate video to those who are still interested. Thanks to the interviews, I think I've been able to determine exactly why teaching Latin and the classics is even an option. A few of the people seem to share the story that they were somewhat pressured to learn Latin from their friends and family members by people who have already experienced the classics themselves. I'll come back to that a bit later. There's also the most obvious fact that learning Latin is fairly helpful in academics and special careers. A large portion of the English language is derived from Latin, and the domain-specific vocabulary used in careers like the STEM field might as well be in Latin. It's also nice to mention that studying Latin and the classics has had overall benefits in SAT scoring. But what really caught my attention was the bond that was shared between the people who study Latin and the classics. And after contemplating why that is the case, it just makes sense. There are plenty of students out there in high school who would take Spanish or Italian, but there are only a handful of kids who decide to take Latin. These smaller groups foster close friendships and are almost always opening their arms to newcomers because they want to spread out to a larger audience. Those who experience this type of bond want others to experience it themselves and try to hook other people in, to a point where it might feel like pressure. It's endearing. They also mentioned how their love for Greco-Roman mythology brought them into learning about the classics, and once they joined, they grew to appreciate the art and architecture that is still standing today, both physically and spiritually. The island advisors also allowed me to visit their museum. It seemed to be missing quite a bit of statues, and by a bit, we mean a lot, given the massive white space around here, but you can't help but admire the art that is here. Let's go back to the beginning when I said, when people say that Latin is dead, well, they aren't wrong. Well, I think there's a better, more accurate way of phrasing that. As a use, it is dead. There's no reason to speak in Latin in the modern day. But if you looked just a bit deeper, you'll find something worth so much more. Not only has it built the language that we are speaking right now, it has built our culture, our infrastructure, and our lives. All it takes is to open your eyes and look at the world around you. This is the true beauty of Latin and the classics. Vale te omnes.